What you think about when you're born into a fire. Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face
Hey, what's happening? We're late again. There you go.
Hey Daddies, it's me,
Yes,
the
that's
Linda
Tuco
Binda
by the
from
Japanese.
TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome, everybody. What's up? What's happening? How's it going? Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is Cold Beer Confessional. I'm Will Bird, your host. And today is July the 1st. Liam's birthday's this month, so it's actually this week. It's the 5th, so I might not be around some this week and then a couple days, maybe next week. We're trying to take him and his friends to a place for a party. So we'll see how that works out. When it works out, it's the 5th. So I got to go buy a PlayStation 5. That's what he wants. He kind of wanted it for Christmas. We told him we'd get it for him for his birthday because we had already bought him some stuff for Christmas, but we'll see. Either way, thank you guys for joining us. Like I said, sorry we're late, but it happens. It happens. You know what should never happen? Derek Johnson. Derek Johnson should never happen. He decided to make a post earlier today, and somebody shared it with me, and I was sitting and looking at it, and basically, I don't know what he was trying to show off. So he made this on Twitter and on his Telegram, and Derek Johnson's post says, "They see me trumping. They gumping. They don't know the laws and orders." And then it has a smiley face and a laughing till I cry emoji. Let me share that with you again. They see me trumping. They gumping. Gupin. Gumping. They don't know the laws. And is it like a Forrest Gump thing? Are they walking or something? Like Forrest Gump did the running thing. So it shows a picture of the back of his truck. So I'm thinking, are they walking like Forrest Gump used to walk? Or are they just retarded? Because Forrest Gump's kind of retarded. Do you guys get it? Does anybody get it? They see me gumping. Anyways, that has little to do with the post. I was just fascinated by it. And then he shares this picture for us to enjoy, the back of his truck. Now, the back of this truck, the reason somebody sent this to me is because they're like, wow, a busted ass knee gets you disabled veteran plates. And yeah, technically, it depends on what state you're in. Sometimes 100% service connected, you get disabled veteran plates. Sometimes it's anybody above 50, anybody above 70. It kind of depends on what state you live in, right? So he's got disabled veteran plates, and it's got the seal of the Army there. That would be this. There's a breastplate, a spear, a flag with an eagle on it. You know, it's the part of it's part of the plate. And then yeah, he probably gets them free for life. That's true. He probably either gets them free or extremely I think it's free. Some places I think it's extremely discounted, but it's probably free. And then he's got this this receiver hitch cover that is the Punisher skull plus a Donald Trump hair flip like Farrah Fawcett. Now, very important. Very important. If you ever share your tag on the internet, be like everybody on Facebook trying to sell a car and black out the numbers. It's so important that he blacked them out this way. And then you can also see he went back over them like this in a circle. Black them out this way. Actually, here is a real tip, okay? Here's a real tip. If you write something on pen and paper, Sharpie, pencil, whatever, and you can't erase it, you can't get rid of it, and you don't want someone to read it, do not scribble it out. Because of the impressions, it's very likely that they can tell what you wrote, even though you scribble it out. Write other letters on top of it. Write other letters on top of it. So if you write the word fuck, just write other words on top of it 3 or 4 times, and it's gone. Don't scribble it out. That's silly. Anyways, internet tip. If you don't want people to see your tag number, don't post your fucking tag. Because what he didn't want us to see is DV 877D. He didn't want us to see his tag number, DV 877D. And what he really didn't want us to see is DV 877D. Really didn't want us to see the DV 877D. Not this DV 877D and not this DV 877D. That's why he blocked out this DV 877D. You see what he did there? So what he doesn't want you to see is DV877D as well as DV877D. And he really doesn't want you to download a barcode scanning app on your phone and scan this barcode that says DV877D. He doesn't want you to see that, and that's how he got rid of it. He doesn't want you to know that it's DV877D. And he took care of that. He doesn't want you to know that Derek Johnson doesn't want you to know that his tag number is DV877D, and it's in 3-4 places on his tag. That's why he doesn't want you to know that his tag number is DV877D. The more you know, right? What a fucking idiot. As soon as this picture was sent to me earlier, I was like, well, that's not the only place. That's not the only place that his numbers are going to be. That's not how that works. DV877D. 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 Why even block it out at this point? Do you think people are going to call 911 in the area that will pick up your local 911? Here's what people shouldn't do. If you live in Alabama near Derek Johnson, do not call 911 in an area close enough to him that 911 call will get automatically routed to the right dispatcher because it depends on your location. And then do not report him as, a DUI or a domestic terrorist or whatever, right? Don't do that. That's illegal. You probably shouldn't do that. But you can't do that if you didn't know his tag number is DV877D. It is DV877D. He's so goddamn dumb. Somebody even pointed this out to him on Twitter. Someone even pointed this out to him on Twitter. One of his followers. Just wanted to let you know, brother, That's your tag number right there. Yeah, and there. And there. What the fuck is wrong with you? Jesus Christ. Oh, Rattletrap. Rattletrap is a good name for him because it's somebody that talks too fucking much. Or at least that's the way my dad used it. So that's a real good name for our boy, Derek Johnson. Derek's Johnson, everybody. Fucking Rattletrap. Special Forces on the move. He was actually featured in a newspaper article the other day. The Debate by Derek Johnson. The debate breakdown that outlined the military and federal laws and orders in place. Sounds like an oldie but a goodie. That's what I think about it.
What's up, everybody? Derek Johnson here going
This
live.
is 3.5 fucking hours. Are you shitting?
Live on Instagram for the first time.
They featured him in a newspaper article the other day, or his crazy, insane posts, basically saying that he doesn't, just because he sees planes going to Gitmo doesn't mean that Joe Biden's not the real president.
So, anyways, just thought I'd come on here and talk about the debate a little bit. The debate. Most of you know me, obviously on Facebook. A lot of people on Instagram might not. Some do, but anyways, I know I sound like a broken record all the time, but you know,
Instagram, that's a new place. He hasn't banned me yet.
it's almost been 2 years. I went globally viral August of 2022. Sitting in a pickup truck, and it stayed viral all over the world, and we've managed to
Locally viral, then it stayed viral all over the world.
grow our pages to maybe, I think it's about 700,000 on all of them. And then obviously TikTok deleted me. Facebook deleted my personal account once. So that wiped out about 130,000 combined. So, however, it's not about the numbers from the sake of what some people are using their platforms for. Unfortunately, a lot of people are now learning about this, and they're trying to use this for the wrong reasons. I'm a United States Army veteran, retired, and at the time that I went globally viral, I was so upset that so many people, but especially veterans, could not see what was going on. But, you know, we have an educational problem in this nation. We have a bad educational problem in this nation.
Yeah, the person born and raised and educated at Alabama, the third worst school system in all of the United States, right behind Mississippi and Louisiana, is going to tell us about education in the United States.
We have some laziness all over the board, and you know, just had to be addressed that way. But I've been getting a lot of compliments lately as I cross the country. I just got back from Arizona, California, Utah, Wyoming, Nevada, Colorado, and I get a lot of compliments how calm I am now. But I've always been calm in a lot of ways, but also I get frustrated for people. I get frustrated for other people. I get frustrated for hardworking people, hardworking Americans who do want to know what's going on. I do get frustrated. I get frustrated for you. And so somebody...
How can you even come on here and say this knowing that you're lying to people, right? It's not just like he honestly believes this and he's convinced himself of this. He's lying, right? He's lying about being tortured in the military. He's lied about he's lied and embellished his career. He's lying about everything. Said he had connections. The reason he was tortured in the military by Obama soldiers because he had connections to certain Congress people who were part of the Q plan.
He had to be the big bad wolf, and that was President Trump, right? According to some people. He's not to me. I didn't vote for him to be a preacher, first off. So, you know, that's the other thing in this nation. There's a...
Right. You didn't vote for him to be a preacher. Then stop running around saying that he's gonna make this a Christian nation. Dude's not even a Christian.
Massive percentage of Christians who still aren't registered to vote and haven't voted or anything of that nature. So, you know, once again. So, a lot of people now, I see a lot of people all over social media now are finding out that Joe Biden is not real. Welcome to the party. Where have you been? But once again, I know we're not supposed to say I told you so, but I've got some friends out there that have podcasts, and they say we got to be compassionate, and I'm like, no, you got to be compassionate. I choose a different word. When I say I told you so, it's not because haughty-tawdy right here. It's just the fact that, once again, when you experience negativity and you...
Haughty-tawdy right here. It's not because haughty-tawdy right here. Jesus Christ. That was rough to even look at. That was That was a little bit. That was a little, he's a little bit country, a little bit Lindsey Graham.
You experience naysayers and you experience all kinds of stuff that I've experienced and my family has gone through, all for simply for keeping my oath and knowing the laws and the orders of the military first. Military laws, military orders, military customs, and then also how they pair with federal executive orders, treaties, etc. Sorry, I have to have a different attitude. So if my I told you so offends you, then, well, that's probably the reason why I went viral, is for the fact that the military is separate from the federal government. And a lot of people are just now finding that out. And you should want to know that for this very reason. You should want to know because of your family members who have served, whether they knew what they were serving for or not. You should want to know that. If you claim to support the military, especially right here before the biggest moment in, in our foundation, if you can't be celebrating July the 4th if you don't know anything about our foundation. Sorry.
Ooh, can't celebrate July 4th if you don't know anything about our foundation.
All right. And all you libtards out there, I'm not slacking up from that word. I'm talking about the
You libtards.
true definition of a libtard. All you libtards out there who want to try to change our, you want to try to change our foundation and things of that nature? I don't see any of you trying to do anything right now. Not a thing. All you're doing is...
What, time travel? How would a libtard go back and change the foundation of the U.S.?
this right here. Blabbing away. You ain't doing nothing about it. Not a thing about it. So keep on talking because you ain't going to do nothing. You ain't doing nothing about it. I'm moving the camera over here for the Instagram. So our founders put in the Declaration of Independence. As a matter of fact, we're going to pull that up and read that a little bit tonight, where we can read the full Declaration, because some people don't seem to want to read the full anything. They just want to skim and find like little parts like they do in the Bible, like a lot of...
We already read it live on the show and proved how wrong you were, but okay.
So what everybody's been watching, once again, there's still a lot of people out there that are struggling. One, because it's a lot of information. And then two, the lazy naysayers and the drama-fed people like to get in the ears of other people and discourage them. And you shouldn't be discouraged. What you're watching is the most biblical, monumental, historical, military occupation, continuity of operations, sting operation, draining the federal corporation all over the world, known to man.
None of that's happening. There's an election going on, and Donald Trump might win, or Joe Biden might win, and they'll be the next president for 4 years. And hopefully Project 2025 never happens.
It's been going on for 7.5 years. 7.5 years. Americans have been watching the greatest operation known to man, and it's all outlined in a chronological blueprint of laws and orders, military and federal, which is also thanks to you, and you know who you are, why I have a #1 best-selling book right now on Amazon, and it's still growing daily. Daily.
So that's how sales would work, right? If I get 1 sale today, then 1 sale tomorrow, and then I get 2 sales the day after, then they're not going to take away the first 2. So that's how sales work. Is they're gonna grow if you're selling them.
This little pretty boy right here, that thing right there. I don't know what cameras are picking it up. All right, #1 bestseller because of you, and thanks to so many patriots out there who have stood up when it counted. Now, most of the patriots that have bought the book and also have shared the book have been standing up their whole life. What we've been trying to say to a lot of you is, welcome to the party. You got to know your rights. You have to know the laws and orders. You don't have to be a lawyer. You don't have to have a law degree. You don't have to be a lawyer to practice. You have to be. You have to have a law degree to practice the law, but you don't have.
Look, are there people that can understand and interpret the law pretty well without a law degree? Sure. I think that if I spend enough time and read it enough times and Google enough stuff, I can understand it. If you're facing murder charges and you're innocent, would you want to represent yourself by choice? No, because there's a lot of intricacies to it. The same way, if you need open heart surgery, would you operate on yourself? No, because there's a lot of shit that just takes time, experience, knowing the court, knowing the ins and outs, knowing everything.
Have to have a law degree to know the laws and the orders. That's why we look the way we look. We look so uneducated to the rest of the world because we have titles over here. Because we have entitled ourselves. Well, I have a degree from such and such. So what? I have a master's degree in business. It don't tell me when to order books. It don't tell me when to ship them. It don't tell me when to order merchandise and when to ship them. It don't tell me anything. This is your Department of Education right here. So everybody's been watching a military occupation. And what I find consistently still in questions on the internet, I get thousands of messages daily, so bear with me. I do see everybody's messages, but by the time we get to them, it's a beautiful process. But the most I see still,
it's a beautiful process. It is.
Are people who want to pick up from right here and look at what's going on right here versus going back and picking up where the line was drawn in the sand. Now, every American's used to every 4 years, every 4 years, every 4 years, every 4 years. This checks and balances.
Yeah, I made a tweet today. I don't know if you guys follow me on Twitter, but it was wild. First of all, Laura Loomer basically said that she would suck Trump's dick. Okay, now maybe she was confused by the context, but she basically said she would suck Trump's dick. So hold on. So this is what Laura Loomer says. Watch the degenerate Hawk Tua girl, whose real name is Haley Welsh, is anti-Trump. In her first interview since going viral, she was asked about Donald Trump, and she said, "It's a no from me. Stop giving skanks attention. This girl was made famous for talking about spitting on a penis during oral sex. She is not to be taken seriously. No self-respecting woman goes around talking about spitting on penises. She clearly is a moron and behaves like white trash. Typical Biden supporter." Next. So she's unhappy with the Hawk Tua girl's answer. Now let's listen to her answer.
I have a game that I want to play with you guys.
What is
That makes me nervous.
No, it's not that scary, I promise. It's called Hawk Tua or Nah. And you
So Hawk Tua or nah. The implied question is, would you suck this guy's dick or nah? Would you suck this guy's dick or nah? No. And Laura Loomer is very upset. This young lady passed on Donald Trump.
tell me if you want to hook to on that thing or no.
Okay.
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 I think you might. Are you into like older guys?
For sure.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, my phone's not loading. All right, you ready?
So she shows him a picture of somebody we don't know that has something to do with the show.
Come on. Oh, just a hook?
I'll give him a hawk. I'll give him a hawk.
So no Hawk Tua, but no, just a hawk, right? Now let's listen.
Okay, beautiful. There you go, Dave. You got a hook. Donald Trump.
No, absolutely not.
No.
It's a no from me.
Okay, it's no. I have a game.
She's asking them, would you suck his dick? I don't care that she corrects herself. That's the problem. These fucking people jump on shit. I read her correction. I don't give a fuck. She's a slut. She's a fucking skank. She would suck Donald Trump's dick, guaranteed, for a little bit of attention. That's what my post said. So I shared it and put, you heard it here first, folks. Laura Loomer would literally suck Trump's dick to get a little attention. Skank. What the fuck is wrong with her? How old is the Hawk Tua girl? 22, 23? An adult. What the fuck is wrong with Laura Loomer? Not to mention, this post is what got me looking at my Twitter account. So here we go. Now there was a ruling today. I don't agree with the ruling, to be honest with you. So basically, the ruling from the Supreme Court said that a president has immunity when he's in his constitutionally granted official acts and should have, that's absolute immunity. Wrong, right, indifferent, it doesn't matter. And that he should have presumed immunity in unofficial acts. The problem is they very specifically went into a couple of circumstances, like saying, oh, well, he's being charged with trying to subvert the 2020 election, but he's supposed to investigate crimes and there could have been election interference. He tried to slip in his own illegal electors, but that's part of his job is putting the elector slate together. Like, the problem with this ruling is not that I don't think that presidents should have immunity when in office because everybody would sue him. What is an official act? Because technically there's an argument for about anything to be an official act, okay? And the joke or the sarcasm that's being used by everybody else is, hey, Joe Biden, and this was in the dissent as well, Joe Biden could go send SEAL Team 6 to kill Donald Trump. And he could say that Donald Trump, and a lot of people believe this, Donald Trump is a legitimate threat to our democracy. Now, part of his official act is to protect the United States from enemies, foreign and domestic. So there's a legitimate argument there that a court would have to decide on him assassinating his political opponent. That's how crazy this ruling is, right? Not saying that Biden should do this, but this ruling's so crazy that there is an argument for that. There is an argument that someone can assassinate their political opponent and then claim that they were a threat to democracy or whatever, and that the president is charged with protecting the nation from enemies, foreign and domestic. So there's an argument, right? So when someone gets in there that wants to abuse power, anybody, left, right, it doesn't matter, when they want to abuse their power, then they're going to be able to do some pretty wild shit and make an argument that they were doing that constitutionally protected, and they'll be immune no matter what. In office, out, whatever, right? As long as it's an official act. So that's kind of scary, especially when we start looking at stuff like Project 2025. If you can make an argument that you were doing it as an official act with the powers granted to you from the Constitution, then it has to go through a court system to decide whether it's an official act or not. And that's like years of this, and it could be wild shit, like an assassination attempt. Not saying that Joe Biden should assassinate Trump right now, but we're using satire to get the point across that if this happened, there could be an argument made that this was part of his official power, right? He can do this. He's protecting the nation from enemies. So the Patriot Voice says the mask has come off entirely, and the American Bolshevik communists are calling for the direct assassination of real Donald Trump and Justice Alito via an official act by Joe Biden using SEAL Team 6. Just like the Bolshevik, they completely missed the nuance. You remember that time where that guy got run over by the fucking cops and crushed up against the Burger King? And somebody's like, I don't know, you shouldn't run. And then I said, well, let's pretend that you run a stop sign and the cop wants you to pull over immediately, and you say, well, I'm going to pull over at the gas station that's, 100 feet ahead, and you don't comply, so he gets out of the car and shoots you and your whole family. Now, am I advocating for this guy to go run a stop sign, drive a little bit too long, and the cop get out and shoot him and his whole family? No. I'm using the absurdity of the situation to show what could happen. What could happen? They're not calling for the actual assassination, as this guy says. This is fucking fear porn. They're using the absurdity of a situation to say this could technically happen. We may see this, and someone say, oh, that was part of my official acts given to me by the Constitution. It says, just like the Bolshevik revolutionaries, when they violently and viciously took out Tsar Nicholas II and the whole Romanov family in 1918, it is a fever dream of these maniacs to see the same thing happen to their opponents. The historical parallels are pretty remarkable. History truly does repeat itself. They know they can't beat Trump, so they want to kill him. Just imagine if the MAGA base... Now, listen very closely. Just imagine if the MAGA base was calling for the same thing to happen to Joe Biden. You would have Secret Service FBI breaking down your door in 0.08 seconds flat. Unfortunately, the FBI is acting like a Bolshevik Cheka Biden secret police, so I don't expect there to be consequences despite the fact that calling for the assassination of a president or any government official is a felony. They protect their own always. So now I shared this, and I literally said these people can't be real humans. A substantial part of Trump's base believes that Joe Biden has already been killed at Gitmo because any Democrat or really anyone who doesn't like Trump drinks the blood of tunnel babies like it's a Sunday afternoon daiquiri. But if MAGA did this, most of them have. Then I went on this guy's post and noticed that Ann Vandersteel shared it and left a comment. And then I put, including this dumb cunt in your comments. Irony has a name, and it is MAGA. Laugh out loud. Because Ann Vandersteel says, these imbeciles know not what they say, or do they? Are they hoping that their words will inspire some members of the military community with PTSD brought on by unlawful force mandate of taking a bioweapon to assassinate a political rival? So not only is she so goddamn dumb, she's already tried to tell people that these people are already assassinated and are played by actors. But now she's going after the military and people with PTSD. Oh, they're going to convince the crazy former military members who had to take the bioweapon vaccine. Fuck this bitch. And then the one fucking Q-tard that apparently still follows me says, don't quit your day job. Do you think I'm making a joke? I was just making a statement. Why would I quit my day job to make an accurate statement about you and your following? Let's see what you've got to share. Oh, no. Ariel. Oh, no. Queen 1776. The Roundtable. Council of Foreign Relations. The Trilateral. The United Nations. Yeah, you're not one of those people who thinks Joe Biden's already dead, are you? Oh, goddamn. Not the popcorn meme. The people who I'm actually talking about who shared this fake image of Joe Biden with children, or I'm sorry, Hunter Biden with children, the people I'm actually talking about, are like, don't quit your day job. It's not a joke! You guys are unhinged fucking lunatics. I'm not making a joke. Fucking Ann Vandersteel.
Balances. That's not what our founders meant by checks and balances. Our founders didn't mean what you've been watching, what I've been watching, what we've all been living under every 4 years. President. What's supposed to look like this? It was not. And they pinned us, the federal corporation, pinned us against our core values, which is patriotism, religion, and race. They pinned us against each other. All right? And now we have, kind of like Johnny Cash's song, What is Truth? You don't know what truth is. Because you want to say, well, that's a fact. This is a fact. That's the truth. And it's really hard to break. Mark Twain's the one that said it's easier to con people than to convince them they've been conned. Right? And so many of you have been duped for so long that you want to believe in something good is going on.
Are his eyes too close together? Like, why does his right eye touch his nose? Do my eyes... Are his eyes too close together? Like a rat?
But you can't, because you're letting the shackles and everything that you've lived under your whole life hold you back. And you also are afraid, if you question one lie, you got to question all of it. And a lot of you are scared too. And you shouldn't be scared, because what you're witnessing and what you're watching right now is draining the swamp. It's draining the corporation. They're getting rid of it. And I always study my work, not because I like seeing me on camera. That's definitely not the case. First time I ever heard myself singing on a recording, that was interesting.
That's the same thing we all did when we heard you sing on a recording.
Process. But I watch my work. I can always try to find. I always think, now maybe I can say this just slightly different for some new person who's never heard it this way, or maybe someone who's heard it 100 times but didn't hear it this way. That's what kind of person I am. I burn the candle at both ends. And there's two different things right now.
I deep-throat a candle at both ends.
The drama, or you hear drama, and you don't know the laws and orders. Well, let me. If you don't know the laws and orders in place right now, then you're going to hear the drama.
Okay.
If you know and study the laws and orders like I do right here, and I can see it like the back of my eyelids, you're going to hear in the speeches, every speech that President Donald John Trump gives, every speech, if you know the laws and orders.
He's getting secret codes from Trump all the time.
You won't hear all the stuff that the average person has to hear. And I'm not knocking you if you're the average person. That's what we're here for, try to help you and wake you up. But there's two things. If you know the laws and orders, you will hear everything that he says that will show you what a military occupation is and what a continuity of operations is. If you don't know the laws and orders in place right now, you don't have to know every law and order known to man. You have to know the ones in place right now. If you don't know those, you're going to hear the drama. And you're going to fall into the negative. You're going to have your spirit disrupted, whatever. You're going to be upset, angry, bitter, sad, mad, frustrated.
He's not right. He's retarded. I've proved him wrong again and again and again. I asked him for a debate or to talk about it, and he blocked me. He knows he's not right.
And to smile every day and know that, yeah, we're in a war. It's a different kind of war. It wasn't meant to be a boots on the ground war. It's a different kind of war. But if you will seek to understand that, then you're going to
You know all about war, don't you?
wake up every morning like I do and you'll be able to look at the news and see all of the comms, what we call comms or optics, and it'll all be backed by laws and orders. Because it is like a broken record right now. Everything you're hearing is all back in just a little bitty blueprint right here. It's not long at all. I mean, it's only 217 pages, and it's not even big paragraphs. Most of the first pages are nothing but the Declaration of Independence, Articles of Confederation, the Constitution. I put those in there. What an executive order is, what a mass mercy is. Well, most of it, it's not that difficult. Now, buddy and I were talking about this past week in California. Another way to say it. It's kind of like those of you that have been to college. If you remember, especially if you were in business school, you had to have calculus. You had to have a lot of math. All right. If you were in communication school or something else of that nature, then you had different levels of maybe philosophy or sociology or something of that.
If you were in communication school, all I know is business school, communication school.
Where you had to, if you couldn't write a simple paper, you weren't going to be able to write a massive thesis. You have to have a prerequisite. All right. That's what a lot of you are still missing. I don't mean that in a condescending way. I'm not doing the viral video again. But I don't mean that in a condescending way. But a lot of you still refuse to read the prerequisites. And until you know those prerequisites of certain terminology and grammar and punctuation and things like that, then you're not going to be able to understand the rolling process of what you're watching right now. The ones who have, get it. Man, the ones who get it, they are rolling right now. They're telling their friends and family. They're having get-togethers. They're having, like small groups. They're having little town hall meetings.
I doubt you need calculus for a business degree.
They're having counsel. They're having all kinds of things. And they're reading this book and they're showing what's in place. Because you don't need to know anything else. That's all you need to know, what's in place. That's all you need to know is what's in place. And the other thing I did is, if you can't afford a book, that's fine. The only reason why we get charged for the book is because someone has to print it, put it together, bind it, all kinds of stuff. But I have the documents.
So you could make a ton of money.
The documents.info. And I hate the word free, just like anybody else does that hates that word. But it is free by me, per se. It's free for you. It's PDF files of what I
If it's free and you just want it to get out there, why does anybody need to print the book?
documented from 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, we call the documents. The document.
I've done more research than you and Derek Johnson combined. Don't tell me research is necessary. I've read every goddamn thing he's linked to, and every piece even his edited documents where he claims he was tortured by other soldiers, and he's now taking that piece out. Everything he links to, he's wrong about.
How do you say it? The documents.info. It's PDF files that pull up. Now, to get you in a ballpark. Now, it's not everything from 2021 to present day. That's what's in the book. And it's more fine-tuned, and I put it more in a flow, chronological flow. The documents for me, just when I was going to college to get my master's degree and all that, I was documenting things that were going on. I even wrote a thesis in my last, I wrote a thesis for one of my last classes doing my MBA myself called Unsustainable Sustainability. And I hammered them about what was going on and why. We even had some professors that didn't like the tariffs, which was brought up, and we're going to bring that up because I'm going to go over the debate here. But first, you got to have a prerequisite. All right? You got to know that our founders,
not a single Fortune 100 CEO, not business, because that would be 100 of them. Not a single C-suite employee from Fortune 100 companies supports Trump's economic plan for tariffs. Tariffs are typically a tax on the consumer. So the last tariff that came from China, when he put a tariff on China, did you see any noticeable improvement from anything? Because the only thing I saw is when I bought electronics, I paid like $30 or $40 more for my fucking Go XLR than anybody else in the world. They just passed it along. That's it. It didn't improve anything. I just paid more for shit from China.
Through an insurrection, if you will. If you want to call it that, you can name it anything. Our founders, you gotta go back. Nobody, especially liberals, but libtards and liberals and fascists and socialists and Marxists and communists, all of them, they want to change everything. They love our milk and honey, like Merle Haggard's song. Merle Haggard's song. They love our milk and honey, but they.
Yeah, all this stuff from the U.S. Army is not allowed to be reprinted for commercial use. I don't know who would actually go after him after that, but he's not supposed to be selling that shit.
They bitch about some other way of living. When they're running down my country, man, they're walking on the fighting side of me, right? Well, they love our milk and honey, and they want that, but they want this stupid Build-A-Bear grasp. They don't have a foundation. We all have a foundation. The other thing is some of us, not all of us, but some of us, my family included, came over on the Mayflower, and some of my family were already here, because I have Native American in myself. So I have both, all right? I'm a son of the Confederacy, and I'm a son of the Revolution. So I only have one option to stay. I'm not leaving. So I tell people, you don't like it, you can leave. You have plenty of other options out there, especially some of these people who claim we're a nation of immigrants. We're a nation, first, who was already here, all right, and we became what we became. And then the immigrants that came over here, guess what they became? Americans, all right? They bought in.
Wrong. Why are we a nation of immigrants? Why are we a nation of immigrants? seven of the founding fathers who signed the Constitution, the original fucking Constitution, were immigrants. We're a nation of immigrants because almost everybody here were immigrants. What the fuck are you? No, we were a nation first, then immigrants came. No, we're a nation of immigrants because when we found our country, it was so new that most people in the country weren't born from the country. They immigrated here.
Through our system. That is what being American is about. It don't have anything to do with where you're from, your race, your religion, your
It's not like we founded the country of the United States, but we had been living here for 17 generations, so most people were born and raised here. Most people at that time immigrated here.
anything like that. Has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with buying into our foundation and why our founders fought for what they fought for. And you have to, if you go read what our founders wrote, I mean, these men were so brilliant. So brilliant. Everything that they wrote, it was so close to perfect.
A cowboy and an Indian.
Our founders started a war. Just started a war. Lexington and Concord. That's why I chose the title, The Midnight Rider Rides Again. Now, there were a lot of Midnight Riders. Paul Revere wasn't the only one. However, his story's the one that made it. He was on the horse and he was riding through town. The redcoats are coming! The redcoats are coming! Get ready! Get ready, boys! I mean, that gives me fire. And you're on a horse. Anybody who's ever rode a horse, full speed, I can hear those. I can just hear that horse. I can get chills thinking of that going down maybe, cobblestone or some kind of, whatever little road they had there. Even if it was dirt, you would have heard it. You heard that, just that rumble. All right. They kicked the war off. Well, they fought a whole year. They fought. You got to think about it. You got to do your math before they established anything. And it was an army. Sorry. I know we have all our jokes in the Marine Corps. Oh, they saved the best for last. Well, you're not the last anymore, so. But all jokes aside, the Army, June 14th, we just had our birthday. June 14th, 1775. All right. Then you had the Navy, October, and then you had the Marine Corps, November. The very first flag was December the 3rd, 1775. Do your math. That was long before the Declaration of Independence. They were fighting, and our founders established the military. Our founders established the military long before the Declaration of Independence. I mean, it's really not that difficult. And then when you go read the Declaration, the unanimous Declaration of the 13th United States of America, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands. Dissolve. So you got to listen to words. So many people don't listen to keywords anymore. Terminology.
Okay.
Dissolve the
terminology,
bands, which have connected them with another.
Etymology. And
to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God, all these liberal atheists out there who claim our founders and our nation was not established on God, and of nature's God entitle them a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should.
The reason that Paul Revere rode to Lexington was for John Adams and John Hancock were in Lexington, and they were prominent members of the Revolution, I guess, and they were afraid that the soldiers from Boston were going to come from Boston, attack Concord, and go on to Lexington, trying to arrest Adams and Hancock, and then possibly destroy the military stores at Concord that they had there. And it wasn't just a ride. He was told by this guy that was I'm trying to remember the whole story. He's told by this guy that was a doctor, Warren, I think, what to do. He went and told one of his friends that the lanterns. Sorry, I had a hiccup. Damn. The lantern part of the story. I think they believe that guy was his friend, one of his friends. I don't think they're for sure. 2 lit lanterns in the tower of the church, and this was a signal that they had set up beforehand. That would be 1 by land, 2 by sea. Then he went by his house and got some supplies. He went to the edge of town, and a couple of his buddies rowed him across the river. When he got across the river, he went. They said he went and got his boots on, his like riding boots and an overcoat, and then he went across the river. When he got across the river, or on the river, they had to slip past a warship, and then in a little bitty rowboat. There's a warship there, but it's nighttime, right? When he got across the river, he told a group of the Sons of Liberty what was going on in Boston. And they verified that they had seen the signals. Then he has to borrow a horse. There's a guy named John Larkin who was in Charlestown, and he was a Patriot sympathizer. He has to borrow his horse. He tells a couple more people. There's a guy also in town as he's fixing to ride out that comes and warns him that they are British patrols already on the road out, that he should wait till nighttime, or he should wait till later in the night. He waits, rides out. He just barely misses getting captured when he's leaving Charleston. He just barely misses getting captured by British patrol there, but he's able to ride all the way to Lexington and warn Adams, Hancock. There's another guy in there named Sergeant Monroe was the guard outside the door, I think. Sergeant Monroe or Monroe. That doesn't sound right. There was another guy that was a guard there outside the house. And the guy told him, "Hey, don't make so much noise." And he yelled back at him, "Noise? You'll have enough noise soon," or something like that. There's like a funny story about it, and says that the regular army's coming. There was a lot of Johns. There was too many Johns. We actually saw a video of you, John, the other day. I think you missed that show. Then I guess John Hancock heard his voice or something, invites him in. I don't know. There's a big, long, an actual story about it. It's more interesting than just riding and screaming that they tell kids in school.
Declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted, governments, plural now. Listen to the key words, listen to the punctuation, listen to the grammar.
And he was actually just the first guy. You know, there was another guy, like 30 minutes later, there was another guy that showed up carrying the same news, which kind of confirmed that they didn't have a different guy with a different like spy network coming a different route came and brought the same news like 30 minutes later. So Paul Revere might not have been the one we remembered. It might have been the other guy, and I don't even remember his name.
Governments, plural, are instituted among men, deriving their powers, plural, from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. Now, how hard is that to understand? That means we can insurrect, we can burn the Capitol down, we can go up there and make it a freaking fraternity house and rule it like Lieutenant Dan on top of the ship. We can do whatever we want. When any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government laying its foundation.
Then he leaves. I guess he leaves Lexington, him and the other rider and somebody else. I can't remember. There's three of them for sure, because they get captured. Two of them escape, but not Paul Revere. He gets questioned about what he's doing or whatever. They end up letting him go. He apparently doesn't give up any information, or they don't kill him or nothing. They end up letting him go, but they take his damn horse. He has to walk all the way back home. That's the end of Paul Revere's ride. He had to walk his ass home. They took his horse because their horse. There's a thing where they would like confiscate your horse to refresh their horse.
On such principle, we run whatever we want. We can burn the Capitol down. We can go up there and make it a freaking. How hard is that to understand?
What?
That means we can insurrect, we can burn the Capitol down, we can go up there and make it a freaking fraternity house and rule it like Lieutenant Dan on top of the ship. We can do whatever we want. When any form of government
He makes too many references to Forrest Gump. Has anybody noticed that?
becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government laying its foundation on organizing its powers in such form as to them, us, shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness.
He's so upset about something.
How is that so hard? It blows my mind how it's so difficult for people to understand that. But here's the real thing. It's not difficult. They don't like it.
You guys remember that video I showed you where I told you that was that John from Australia that's sometimes in the chat? Here it is. Hold on. I'll just show it to you. This is actually the only known recording I think exists of him. It was this one. He was giving us that lesson on venomous snakes. It was this one right here.
G'day, folks. So I'm just replying to this comment about the trouser snake and whether they're dangerous
That's, Johnny in
and whether
chat.
they're poisonous. Well, yes, they are very, very dangerous. One of the most dangerous snakes in the country, especially the one-eyed trouser snake. They flare up when they get agitated and spit their venom. So you do have to watch out for them, especially females, okay?
I don't know if he works for like a zoo or something. I don't know. That's the only known recorded video they have of him. He's a trouser snake specialist.
Right? Because God also laid out right and wrong in the Bible. We also have a moral conscience about us. And so many people right now are living just like the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. Just like the days of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Gomorrah? Like Tamara? Gomorrah?
And we know what God did with that. So all of you people out there, all of you people who keep condoning all this going on, all this crap and this filth across the nation, all right, there's only so much you can do. Everybody has to chip in there. That military occupation, that stuff is for what we have up here. All right? We have to take care of what's going on. And then it tells you, but when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably.
What was that?
And then it tells you, but when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing.
What was that, Mr. Master's degree? Did you say usurpations? Listen close. Big boy ears.
It tells you, but when a long train of abuses and usurpations.
Usurpations. When a long chain of abuses and usurpations. Define that for me, please. Usurpations. You know, the people. Remember, we're the people who have never read the Declaration of Independence. Never. This is his prerequisite. He can see this like the back of his eyelids, remember? Usurpations.
What's going on? And then it tells you, but when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object. Now listen to that now, pursuing invariably.
Listen to that now. Right after, I don't want to read usurpations anymore. But right after that, now listen to that now. Now listen to that now. Oh shit. Listen to that part. It's that part right past usurpations. Listen to that part. I don't want to have to repeat myself, but you know what I'm talking about. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces to provide new guards for their future security. Oh, I skipped a line. Pursuing invariably the same object. No, I didn't. Pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism.
The same object pursuing invariably the same object. Now listen to that now, pursuing invariably the same object. Object is capitalized, the O. Evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism.
Deputism, like when you make somebody a deputy. Deputism. What the fuck, dude? And you're telling people this is like the back of your eyelids? Deputism. I now deputize you man and wife, or whatever the fuck they say. Despotism. Despotism. The fuck is wrong with you?
The same object. Object is capitalized, the O. Evinces are designed to reduce them under absolute despotism.
Deputism. Usurpations. Usurpations, he said. Apparently, he's never watched a Scott McKay video.
Listen to this now. Get your ears open, patriots. But get your ears open, libtards. Get your ears open, because I don't think you're ready to fight for it.
That's the two options. You either have to be his type of patriot that believes Donald Trump is a secret ruler in the military sting operation and convolution, devolution, reconstitution, or you're a libtard.
I don't think you're ready against us.
This is why I know. This is why I don't think that's what he said. He hasn't said half the fucking words right. What do you think he said? He said deputism? You think he said usurpations right? You can hear his own fucking voice. Anyways, this is why I know he doesn't understand what he reads in a law. He doesn't even know the words that he's fucking reading. Now look at that. Now look at that object. The O's capitalized. Deputism. Usurpations.
Patriots, I don't think you're ready for it. It is their right. It is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Do you know what throw off means? Do you not know what abolish means? Ladies and gentlemen, this is our foundation. And just like Abraham Lincoln said, the Declaration of Independence is way more important than the Constitution. And you'll hear libtards, and you'll hear Democrats, the rhinos, and all these people. They use the Constitution way out of context. Way out of context. And a lot of liberals and a lot of Americans have no freaking clue what the Constitution even says. The Constitution is just a framework.
You don't know what the fucking Declaration of Independence says. I had you sped up, and it sounds like you're fucking hooked on phonics. It's terrifying how many people believe this guy and he can't even pronounce the right words. I can't pronounce every word. You've seen me look them up and say how to pronounce this word and even look up the definition. I don't think I've ever heard that word before. What does that mean? Derek Johnson just makes them up. Usurpations. Now listen now. O is capitalized.
All it reads is what the Congress is supposed to do and when they're supposed to establish, kind of like what day you vote. The House, the Senate, the President. He
wants the Declaration of Independence to be bigger than the Constitution, and it's just not. Even the Supreme Court, which he loves to fucking talk about, the Supreme Court, their only job is deciding if something's constitutional or not. The Constitution lays out how every bit of our fucking government works. Every bit of it.
And the Vice President. It just tells, it don't say what this.
He's not read it. He has not read the Constitution. He's not read the Constitution. Are you fucking kidding? The Bill of Rights is part of the Constitution. It just says, like, this guy's president, these people are Congress, this is the Supreme Court, you know, and what day to vote on and stuff like that. You're a fucking retard. I don't know how people can keep following you, except that they are 1 degree of retardation lower than you. Smart people don't follow retards around.
Says. It's just a framework. Now, it's great, and it's perfectly written, but let's say, for example, late night.
It's not perfectly written. to say the Constitution is perfectly written is to be dumber than he already looks. If it was perfectly written, where'd the Bill of Rights come from? What about those other amendments? It's not perfectly written. That's why, as time changes, there's a way to alter it. If it was perfectly written, the founding fathers would have said, this motherfucker's perfect. If you change it, we're coming back from the grave. And half of us are immigrants, and we know you're scared of us. We're bringing fentanyl and taking your day jobs.
1951, Congress violated the Constitution by not changing because it wasn't even there. Congress violated the Constitution by putting term limits on the president. Why? Nowhere in the Constitution does it say how many terms the president can serve. It just says there to
Yeah, I've heard that same argument. The War Powers Act is part of the Constitution.
serve 4 years in a term. It don't say how many times they can be elected. So why was Congress putting term limits on the president? Well, I've already proven that with what was going on with that.
Because Congress is tasked with passing the laws. Now, what other laws exist? Whatever the laws exist, what other laws exist around being the president? Well, you have to be a natural born citizen, right? There's an age. That's about it, other than term limits. Term limits were put in by Congress, who is in charge of passing the laws. Now, if you don't like the laws that Congress passes, you could do a couple things. You could not obey them, right? Then you'll be in trouble with whoever enforces the laws. You can join Congress, petition Congress, lobby at Congress. You can do something through Congress. Or if it's a violation in any way, shape, or form of our founding document, the Constitution, then you take it to the Supreme Court. You take it to the Supreme Court, and they'll say it's unconstitutional. Before the amendments, there were no time limits. Right? Before the it's a 22nd Amendment. It's literally part of the Constitution. So what he just said is a lie. Hold on.
So why was Congress how many terms the Constitution by putting term limit the Constitution by and it's perfectly written. But let's say, for example, like 1951, Congress violated the Constitution by not changing because it wasn't even there. Congress violated the Constitution by putting term limits on the president. Why?
Wrong. If you and I are sitting down for a contract, let's say I'm buying a car off of you and you want $25,000 for the car and you have a contract because you don't want this to be some type of weird internet sale or, me steal your identity or take your Social Security money or something, right? You want $25,000 for the car. Now, I come and look at the car, and the contract's already filled out. We just have to sign it and initial it. It's not signed. And I come and look at the car, and I'm like, I'm not giving $25,000 for this car. I'll give you $22,000. And you think that's an agreeable price, and you mark out $25,000. You put $22,000. You initial it. I initial it. We do the contract. Did you violate the contract by amending the contract? If Derek Johnson is mad that the Constitution was amended, that's fine. But he also loses his First Amendment to free speech, his Second Amendment to own a gun, his Third Amendment which is that's safe harbor for safe harbor for the foreign soldiers there. Like he loses all of his amendments. The Fourth Amendment about illegal search and seizure, everything else has to do with the court system. Like, he has to give those up. They violated the Constitution by amending the Constitution. That's fine. But if that's what you're going to go with, no, the Third Amendment is no soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner apt to be prescribed by law. The Fourth Amendment, that is illegal search and seizure. No warrants shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath and affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched. So, illegal search seizure. The Fifth Amendment, to not self-incriminate. The Sixth Amendment. The Sixth Amendment is your speedy trial clause. The Seventh, he has to give up all these amendments. If he by the way, if Congress would have violated something by passing the 22nd Amendment, well, we have something to cure that. It's called the Supreme Court. If anybody thinks that you can. If anybody thinks that Congress violated the 22nd Amendment, you live under the laws and the 22nd Amendment, you can start a case right now, take it to federal court, and push it to the Supreme Court that it's a violation of the Constitution. We've had amendments rescinded before.
Nowhere perfectly written, but let's say, for example, like 1951, Congress violated the Constitution by...
Yes, they 100% are more unconstitutional than any of the libtards they talk about. When you're talking about these people, then the only evidence you have is that they don't agree with Donald Trump, that these people need to be rounded up, need to be taken to a military tribunal because it's quick, no jury present, none of the protections that are applied to any U.S. citizen. And that's all unconstitutional, you fucking retards. Go to Gitmo, get hanged.
By not changing because it wasn't even there, Congress violated the Constitution by putting term limits on the president. Why? Nowhere in the Constitution does it say how many terms the president can.
So, where did we get before it was required? Before it was required, we had a two-term tradition. We already had a two-term tradition that was set in place by George Washington, right? He only served 2 terms and said it was time for him to move along, right? And Thomas Jefferson, okay? Now, between those two was Adams, right? John Adams. But John Adams only served 4 years anyways. So basically, the first 3 presidents stuck to 1 or 2 terms. And that was a tradition set in place. I think James Madison ends up being there, 6 years or some shit? It was really weird back then. It was just a tradition. And a lot of people honored that tradition, that it was 2 years and gone. And that was, George Washington thought it was a fucking good idea, right? If George Washington thinks it's a good idea, it was probably meant for the nation. But after that, when there was no limit, Roosevelt ended up winning, 4 terms? And that's when people started to think, hey, this could be bad. Because somebody could become really popular with the people, or a select group of people, or the people who vote, and could do really terrible things and implement things that helped him win, like Putin does, right? If you don't know, Putin, there was term limits in Russia. And Putin was president of Russia right up till he hit his term limits. Then he left office and got his buddy elected. While he had his buddy elected, serving one term, he went and petitioned Congress to remove term limits so he could run again. So after his buddy's one term, he ran again, got reelected, and he'll be there forever. We don't do that here, right? It's actually good to have, but I know people are like, fuck those libtards and fuck those MAGA people. It's actually good to have both sides. That's what keeps you grounded. You don't want to just go all out one way because not everybody believes and thinks the same way. We need those people, just like the president is checked by Congress and the Supreme Court, and Congress is checked by the president and the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is checked by President and Congress. Just like those checks and balances, just having a right wing or left wing is supposed to work as a check and balance. We're not going to let anything get too far. After you see this, after we have a president, a lot of times we change parties. We will change, we're just kind of sick of those guys. So we'll change parties for a while. And then we got that guy and we're sick of those guys. So we'll change parties for a while.
Serve. It just says there to serve 4 years in a term. It don't say how many times they can be elected.
Absolutely. And the fact that Derek Johnson, if he's not a fucking bitch boy Donald Trump fucking cocksucker, then he has to stand up for, oh, Congress fucked up when they put term limits on president. Then he can't believe in term limits on Congress either. He can't. You can't say, oh, I think Congress should have term limits, but not the president. That's just you sucking Donald Trump's dick. And I guarantee you that's the way he feels. I've heard him talk about Nancy Pelosi. I've heard him talk about Joe Biden being in Congress. I've heard him talk about many congressional people and about how they've been there too long. I guarantee you he's for term limits for Congress, which isn't part of the Constitution, but he thinks that Congress violated the Constitution by putting term limits in the Constitution for the president.
So why was Congress putting term limits on the president? Well, I've already proven that. Well,
that's part of the Constitution, you fucking retard.
not changing because it wasn't.
Oh my God,
even
did
there.
you see that face?
Congress violated the Constitution.
Ah, she was a mighty storm. Ah, he's a pirate.
1951. Congress violated the Constitution by not changing because it wasn't even. But let's say, for example, like 1951, Congress violated the Constitution by not changing because it wasn't even there. Congress violated the Constitution.
Michaela Robertson 81 gifted Jordan was here a subscription. Michaela Robertson 81 gifted a tier 1 sub to Jordan Woo's here. They have given 37 gift subs in the channel.
Let me ask you a question. Thank you for the gifted subs. Let me ask you a question. If the founding fathers put away in the Constitution to change it, to amend it, to make changes to it, but it was an incredibly difficult process. Like, it took a 2/3 majority, and then it took a state ratification of 2/3. And let's say, first of all, it wasn't 1951. It was 1947 when Congress passed it by a majority. And it was ratified with 36 out of 48 states. Would that be going against the Constitution? You mean legally going through the process? This is like, this is fucking crazy. This dude's fucking crazy, dude. Crazy. This is like let's say you need a driver's license. And you go to the DMV and you get the paperwork and you fill it out. And then you take your test, the test on the computer, and you get a learner's permit. Then you drive with a licensed driver for a year. And you come back, you fill out the hours and the paperwork and the licensed driver signs. Then you take the physical exam where you go out and drive the exam. And then you get issued your driver's license after jumping through all the hoops. And they're like, you went against the driver's license process, bud. and you violated the process. We're out of here. Well, I went through all the steps. You made the steps. I followed all of your steps. And now you're telling me that I violated what you put in place? They voted on it. They got the majority they needed. Then they sent it to the states to ratify. They got well over the majority they needed. Then it comes back and is signed into law by a president. And he's like, no, they violated the Constitution when they did that. When they passed it, how do you add something that's not there? Well, the right to free speech wasn't there. How do you think they added it? Your beloved Second Amendment. I love the Second Amendment. Wasn't there. How do you think they added that? This is the dumbest fucking human to be teaching anybody anything.
By putting term limits on the president. Why? Nowhere in the Constitution does it say how many terms the president can serve. It just says they're to serve 4 years in a term. It don't say how many times they can be elected. So why was Congress putting term limits on the president?
I don't know how many more ways I can break this down, you fucking retard. The Constitution don't say it. Yes, it does. If you're gonna argue that the original Constitution doesn't say it, well, the original Constitution doesn't give you the right to own firearms. So, sorry.
Well, I've already proven that with what was going on with that time period, because that's what was the federal corporation. So a little thing like that, they violated the Constitution. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say to do that. The Constitution says, well, the Congress shall do this, and we'll just pull something up. Let's see.
Oh God, don't do it.
1845. It took them from 1789 to 1845 to establish when, where, and how we vote. Prime example. Don't even have to pull it up. There's one, Statute of 1845. It took from 1789, even though it was written in 1787, but it was put into action 1789. It took them from 1789 to 1845 to establish when, where, and how we vote. Now, there were some things that happened in between there, like the War of 1812, the British revolted.
There was a bunch of things that happened. Who can vote? Can women vote? Do landowners only get the vote? Do you have to be the head of your house? There's a bunch of shit that happened.
So there was a lot of things that were going on during that time period. A lot of states were being established, Alabama and different parts, Mississippi, etc. But once again, so many people know nothing about our history.
You don't know anything. You.
But boy, do they want to complain and whine and gripe and fuss. And the principle.
This is how I know he hasn't read the Constitution. Listen. The Congress, whenever 2/3 of both houses shall deem it necessary, shall propose amendments to this Constitution, or on the application of legislatures of 2/3 of the several states, shall call a convention for proposing amendments, which, in either case, shall be valid to all intents and purposes as part of this Constitution when ratified by legislatures of 3/4 of several states, or by conventions in 3/4 thereof, as the one or the other mode of ratification may be proposed by the Congress, provided that no amendment which may be made prior to the year 1880, 1808, shall in any manner affect the first and the fourth clauses in the 9th section of the first article, and that no state, without its consent, shall be deprived of its equal suffrage in the Senate. That's Article 5. 5. I know he can count that high. I've seen him use his fingers. That's Article 5 of the Constitution, is how to amend the Constitution. Our founding fathers were very smart, brilliant people. For the time they lived in, how they planned this all out, even like the war gaming to like get ready for an attack. They were brilliant people, okay? They knew that one set of laws, that one governance rule would not stand forever. And they were trying to make a country that would stand forever. So in the 5th article, the 5th fucking article, they told you how to amend it. And you're like, term limits ain't in the Constitution. Yes, they are!
For whining, griping, and fussing. Why do people whine, gripe, and fuss? Especially patriots. This is one that gets me. We had this conversation. I was, like I said, I went to Arizona and California and Utah, Nevada, all out there, and saw a lot of friends, and we were talking about this past week. You know, it's mainly patriots.
By the way, what he's talking about is not called Statute 1845. It's called Presidential Election Day Act of 1845 and the election of 1840. That's the name of it. And it says, an act to establish a uniform time for holding election for electors of president and vice president in all the states of the Union. And now, this wasn't like what you think about like voting today. This was literally you went out and voted for electors who you thought represented you, who would vote for the right president. Could you imagine trying to vote in 1840 or 1845?
Quote unquote, are people who claim to be Trump supporters who are arguing the most right now. I mean, you get it. Whining, griping, and fussing, nothing about our history. But boy, do they.
Please consider supporting the fight against stupidity here by going to coldbeer.fund and keeping the lights on. My new printer will be here tomorrow, and I hope to get. I've got to buckle down and start getting projects out on the other channel because that's really what I want to do, while still doing this less days a week. But he gets here tomorrow. It's going to be a rough week with Liam's birthday party and stuff like that. But the new printer will be here tomorrow. I can't wait to show it to you guys.
Want to complain and whine and gripe and fuss. In the principle of whining, griping, and fussing, why do people whine, gripe, and fuss? Especially patriots. This is one that gets me. We had this conversation. I was, like I said, I went to Arizona and California and Utah, Nevada, all out there. Saw.
Mariah, who was the teacher? I want to say his name started with an H. Wasn't Howard. Who was the middle school teacher with kind of like longer brown hair, and he had a son. He was a photographer, but he was like obsessed with like the presidents and making everybody learn the presidents and the stuff about them. FDR served 12 years. It would have been like 1930 something, 1933 to 1945. 12 years. Higgins. Mr. Higgins. You're right. Liam's birthday's the 5th. Maybe I'll have him do a video or something, put it on Discord or Telegram or something like that.
A lot of friends, and we were talking about this past week. You know, it's mainly patriots, quote unquote.
He was a really good history teacher. It was like you didn't have to memorize a lot and learn a lot or what, but he was like into it. Like he loved it.
Or people who claim to be Trump supporters who are arguing the most right now. I mean, you can expect it from a liberal who just absolutely hates America or hates what they think is tough and whatever. It's how and why would anybody who claims to support President Trump be mad at someone like me for showing you how the man is still lawfully your president who claims to support President Trump? Be mad at someone like me for showing you how the man is still...
Because it doesn't matter who the person is, right? It doesn't matter how much you love the person, how much you support the person, how much Derek wants to suck the person's dick. It doesn't matter who the person is. Our country was founded on the principle that everybody's treated the same. So when he says, all he's asking for is you to look the other way if you don't believe him, because he says, how could someone who says they support Trump get mad at me for proving that he's still the president? Well, one, they're not getting mad at you. They're trying to apply the law equally and reality equally. What you're saying is they can't love Trump and also disagree with me. So they should just be quiet. So your love of the man, all you're telling us is that you love the man more than the institutions, the country, the law, what the country was set up for. That's all you're telling us. And that anybody else, if you claim you love Trump, then you shouldn't disagree with me.
Lawfully, your president, sitting president in a wartime presidency. How is that even possible? How can you be a Trump supporter when you don't know anything about what his role is as a president? He's not there to make you feel good with some kind of speech. He's the chief executive officer of the executive branch. That's probably the most baffling along the way, is how so many patriots still out.
Guess who got some of those viral TikTok blowjob mints today? Mariah's already at the house drooling.
Out there give other real patriots grief when it doesn't hurt anybody or anything. This is a military occupation, and then it's also a continuity of operations, and they're working simultaneously.
Gotta let her wet my whistle.
And then what happened on Telegram and well, before Truth Social came about with President Trump, but Telegram and Facebook and all these other little things out there, even Twitter, you have all these people out there who are trying to tote the news and be the news, but don't know anything about the language of what they're trying to tote.
But you couldn't even pronounce the words. You couldn't even pronounce the words you were reading, much less interpret it for us. Now, I want you to listen very closely. The O in order is capitalized. Yeah, but you said usurpations and deputism.
Then they're plagiarizing, they're stealing, and they're all trying to steal from people like me who have your best interests, who all I'm doing is just keeping my oath to this nation, which I'm supposed to do, I'm obligated to do. And they want to steal and plagiarize because they want to put something up where you can go buy something of theirs, right? I am a country music artist. I had 2 Billboard hits, a whole other facet that country music fans ain't even ready for yet. Country music fans are just like people in this nation. They have no clue about country music. They don't know anything about the rig system and how dirty it is and the politics, and then don't care to, which is even more sad. But I had 2 Billboard hits, all right? And I already had a career. So I already had merchandise. I already had stuff like that. But it baffles me and all my friends and also other podcasters I know. There's some good ones out there, ain't no doubt. But it baffles me and us.
Didn't even that one retard, the mega truth Trump guy, didn't he call you out as a goddamn sham?
How so many patriots will be mad and claim to support President Trump, but don't even know the laws and the orders that he put into place. That's sad. It's not a disgrace. I won't say that word. I use that word with other things, but it's sad.
It's sad that you can claim to support somebody but don't know anything about what he did, which is ever more epic and beautiful. And he loves the word beautiful. I use this word a lot, beautiful. It's beautiful what's in place. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt anybody. It is back in this solid foundation more than anybody. Then you got all those out there judging his life, and oh, but boy, if your name was in the media, oh boy, if someone was talking about you, God forbid, hell, have no fury. But because someone's famous, y'all judge them. Same thing that happened to me. All these people out there lying about me.
Yes. It's actually constitutionally protected that we could talk about people.
Took my mother's photo, took my deceased grandmother, who was a saint of all saints. If I could be a tenth of the person that my grandmother was, and that's a male talking about a female, if I could be a tenth of the compassion she had, and the heart she had, and the kindness she had, and the love she had, if I could be a tenth of her,
Ultra Trump is not Baby Trump. Baby Trump's the guy who dances a lot. Ultra Trump is a guy that looks like he does steroids a lot.
world will be changed just like that. And here are all these people that came out last year, and one was in the military on top of it. And guess what old Donald John Trump said the other day? All the woke military gonna be gone in less than 24 hours. I told
all the woke military gonna be gone in less than 24 hours. The woke military gonna be out of here. Good luck. Usually military, depending on what branch you're talking about, usually across the board usually trends a little more right than it does left. But you're not going to get rid of half the goddamn 30% of the military. Good luck.
I told you to keep poking the bear, keep poking the line, keep poking it. We ain't finished. And I know a lot of them in the military who are taking out these commanders that you keep seeing. I know some of them taking them out. And guess what I get every now and then? I get a text message. Keep doing what you're doing, baby. We're torching the barn and killing the rats. All right, that's what's happening. All right, because
he claims that he knows people that are assassinating U.S. service members. And then he claims that they text him to tell him that they have completed an assassination on a U.S. service member.
nobody else was going to do it. And somebody had to stand up. And finally, thank God, everybody in the secret army, 60,000 in the secret army, secret military. All right, that's all been reported. Politico put that out March 2017, March 17, 2017. You know, you got all these people out there claiming to be patriots and claiming to be, we support the Constitution. They don't know jack diddly doo-doo about the Constitution, especially for the...
What was that? Jack diddly doo-doo?
Claiming to be patriots and claiming to be, we support the Constitution. They don't know jack diddly doo-doo about the Constitution, especially for the fact that the Constitution don't really say anything except for, once again, that Congress is supposed to do this, the House is supposed to do this, the Senate is supposed to do this, the President. And here I am showing you exactly what the Congress did, and exactly what the House did, and exactly what the Senate did, and exactly what the President did. All in play, baby. And it's a World War II history repeat. And thank God for all those men who went down and joined in World War II. Even though it was a federal corporate war, which everybody's going to find out in history. My grandfather lied about his age. My great-uncle stormed those beaches of Normandy and earned a Purple Heart that day. And every single thing that my grandfather...
And we're all war veterans.
My great-uncles and my dad and my uncle taught me is playing out right now. And there was a saying that President Trump said on the 2016 campaign trail that showed there was a line drawn in the sand in 2016, and everybody missed it. 99% of people missed it. A lot more weight right now, thank God, of you patriots. A lot of you are weight. But at that time, everybody missed it. That's the one thing that was the green light for me. When I heard that, I was like, uh-oh, that was a conspiracy theory for the last 60 years. And Donald John Trump just quoted it on World TV. And I'll tell you what it was in a minute. So I'm just doing a little history, and then we'll get into it, because the debate wasn't, it really was only a few notes. If you know laws and orders in place, it was just a few notes. And it was also really more of a distraction piece for all the people that think what they're watching is real. All right? So when you go back to our foundation, the British revolted in 1812, all right? That ended in 1814. Which is cool, though, when you look back at the Battle of Baltimore. I think it's very important to know, especially for people like Colin Kaepernick. All right, I will never repeat it. I will never say his name appropriately anymore, because he's a dick. Okay. And also the Green Beret Special Forces dude that was on TV with him that day, way back when, he also needs to be stripped of his rank if he hasn't already. I don't know, he might be one of those commanders that got relieved of duty, but he needs to be stripped of his...
Okay, makes sense.
Rank. He needs to be stripped of his benefits and be completely removed from the military. Everything. All his honors, medals, and everything needs to be taken.
You fucking retard. You served in the military. You may think it's disrespectful. You may not like it. You may get angry about it. But you served in the military to protect his right to do that. You served in the military to protect his right to do that. The guy that was with Kaepernick that talked Kaepernick into doing this was a guy named Nate Boyer. He's a Green Beret football player, an actor. 6 years, I think he did in the Army. He's been to Iraq and Afghanistan. Way more valor than fucking Derek Johnson. Way. He was he played at the University of Texas college football, and signed to the Seahawks. He actually has a really interesting story. How did this work? He had never played football in his life, and he walks on at the University of Texas. Never played in high school, never played in middle school, never played organized football in his life, and walks on and makes the team at the University of Texas.
Taken out because he was violating Army regulations, for one, being in uniform, on TV, publicity, and also politically. All right, standing there with some Muslim who hates this nation. All right, but think about this. Major Armstead, way back, Battle of Baltimore, said he wanted a flag so big that the British had no problem seeing what was coming for them. All right, that's what kind of heart we have to have in this nation. That's what every patriot needs to know. You need to know your foundation.
Imagine a fucking Green Beret that's got tours in both Iraq and Afghanistan, and this guy who never left California, and as soon as he got there, as soon as he joined the military, started complaining about his knee injury till he got out. He's like, that guy needs to be stripped of his rank.
You need to know why we stand on what we stand for. All right, so you got to have that heart. You got to have that feeling. Now, the other thing I'm going to address before I get there is this. A lot of veterans out there, last year, not a lot, but I had a couple veterans come at me, all right? Then because they couldn't talk laws and orders of which they served under, we all raise our right hand under the same Title 10. So you can't have one without the other. You can't believe in one portion of the law and not the other, but especially military law, all right, especially what's in place. But every one of us is a veteran. We raise our right hand to 10, United States Code, Section 502. Real simple, all right? We took an oath. But listen to what the oath says, and remember when they put this in place, all right? This was before the corporation was put into place, which was 1871 and 1878. Listen to this. You got to see, that's where people don't want to go back to the context and the origin of things. Our oath was before the corporation was established by all these global elitists, Republican and Democrat. All right, listen to what it says. I, Derek Johnson.
Literally, Nate Boyer told Kaepernick that he thought it would look more respectful if he took a knee rather than sitting it out, because there were people sitting it out at the time, right? And Nate was like, "Hey, it's probably more respectful. You're still, you know, being solemn. You're still giving reverence to it, but you're taking a knee because you don't agree with whatever." It's a form of peaceful protest, right?
It was before the corporation was established by all these global elitists, Republican and Democrat. All right, listen to what it says. I, Derek Johnson, do solemnly swear to support. I just drew a blank. To uphold the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Right. But listen what it says though, foreign and domestic. Listen to when it was written. Listen to the origin of it. The foreign part was a defense mechanism. When you go back and you look at our foundation. All right, our foundation was a war that started with our own people, if you will. I come up with slogans saying the old British versus the new British, because it was still our founders. It was still like my ancestors. They just got tired of, you know, the ideology that came across, we call the pond, with it, right? So why did they keep that foundation going? Right? They didn't want that foundation. So they did what? Taxation without representation is why they started the war. So the foreign part was for people invading this soil. Not us going to Iraq and Afghanistan and Somalia and Bosnia and Kosovo and Libya and all these other places, Syria, Beirut. We weren't supposed to be going to these places. That's the federal corporation. So all the brothers and sisters out there that were trolling my pages last year, I'm the most forgiving person in the world. I'll forgive you. I've been learning to pray.
We don't need it.
A lot more than what I ever have in my life. But see, veterans, we talk to each other differently. And when we talk to each other, we could be arguing 5 minutes and the next 5 minutes hugging each other. But what you need to know is that I'm not taking away what you did in the service. I never have taken away what you did. You could have been the most elite staff sergeant, sergeant first class, signal, infantry, whatever you are. Not taken away from your service. But what you need to understand is that every war from 1871 to present day was a foreign corporate war. And when we address that and identify that, then you'll see moving forward what it's supposed to look like. Because the line that was drawn in the sand was done on purpose. Donald Trump was an outsider on purpose. He was not a politician. He went in and proved, that's what you're watching right now. It's part of the occupation, part of the operations. But he went in and proved you do not need a foreign war to pay our military. He had a $686 billion defense budget without starting a war. So no president can ever walk in behind Donald John Trump and say that we need to start a war or even start a war.
Okay.
That's why everybody's missing this right now, especially patriots. You're missing the most beautiful part of all this. You're missing it. You are missing the whole occupation, operation known to man. They took an outsider on purpose. And if Donald Trump did not have a massive military backing him, guess what would be happening? He'd be assassinated. Because they took shots at Reagan for getting too charismatic, even though this is in a federal corporation. But not every president in a federal corporation were bad. See, they thought when they got up to that rank, they didn't realize how bad it was back here with that mafia, the cabal,
Okay.
the global elitists all over the world.
That makes sense.
Which is why, once again, a lot of patriots are struggling with, this was never about 2020 election. I'm sick to death of seeing every patriot on my pages talk about 2020. This was not just about 2020. This was about every single election, from local, state, and federal, not just the United States of America. If you'll read the laws and orders in place, you'll see how beautiful it is. September 12, 2018 was when the order was put into place for all the elections. So they had to have some data. They had to have data. It's kind of like when you watch pro football or pro whatever sports you watch. When they get to the playoffs, they have what? They'll have a 7-game playoff, right? So it'll be the best of 7, the best of 3 in college, right? You got to have data. You can't just go off of speculation. You can't go off of, well, we know what's been happening. You got to have data when you walk into a court of what? Law. So
data for law. Got it.
Veterans, I'm not knocking your service. I'm not taking away from your service. Once again, you can be the most elite, whatever you are. But you got to know the laws and orders of which you served under. And you, of all people, especially if you served, although Jared Johnson will serve a lot longer, served like I did. If you served over 20 years and you don't know what I know, you're only going to make yourself look horrible to your friends and family.
Your friends and family are going to be like, you don't know the laws and orders? Your service is dissolved. Who cares? You ain't got no legs. You don't know the laws and orders? That's the legs of the Constitution, buddy.
The more this comes out, I don't know how you don't already. And I don't want that for you. That is why I did get in the veteran voice, and I got in the voice of, hey, keep your mouth shut till you read this, because you, of all people, you probably going to want to know this. Because it's going to help you. But it's going to hurt you if you don't know this, because what's happening.
Crazy eyes.
Are the people who are reading what's in place, like females, like ladies, give yourself a pat on the back. I always do this. 85% of the demographic that follow me are females. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm saying that guys, males, females multitask really well. And females love to do what? They love to prove guys wrong. They love that. That's a challenge, right? And I've had multiple ladies and females tell me, you know what, when I first heard you, I thought you were full of crap. And then what? What did they do? Started reading and putting it together like a puzzle.
No, they're just taking your interpretation of what you're inaccurately interpreting. How many people speak Pashto in chat? I'm going to guess hardly any, right? I know very little Pashto, but let's say I was fluent in it. Okay, that's what a majority of people speak in Afghanistan. Let's say I was fluent in it, and I have this whiteboard, and it's all written in Pashto, and I read it off to you in a foreign language, a language you don't understand, and I say, what this means is blah 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 blah, and explain it all to you, and you say, oh, now I understand it. But if I gave you an incorrect interpretation and it actually said, go fuck yourself, and I told you it meant Jervis loves you, and you say, now I understand it. That means Jervis and the next time you say it, you say, that means Jervis loves you. Just because you take my interpretation of something doesn't mean it's right. Oh, I see what you're saying now. Yeah, I believe you. You got to be right. But none of you can even pronounce the fucking words.
Also, because that's what it is. It's a chronological blueprint. And voila. And a lot of them were not in the military, but their spouses were. So the reason why I was tough on veterans for so long also was the fact that a lot of these ladies were telling me how their husbands were talking down to them. That ain't what the military trains us to do.
Okay. A lot of these ladies said, look, I never believed you, but now I do. And my husband's being mean to me about it. Derek, would you come rescue me?
The military they don't teach us to talk down to people. It don't teach us to talk down to our partners especially. All right? It don't teach us to abuse them verbally. So.
What partner?
You know, what amazes me is that my grandfather and great uncles and all that generation, they never talked about war. They never bragged about war. They didn't beat on their wives. They didn't yell at their wives. Nothing like that. How did we get where we are today? I don't even think my grandpa knew what PTSD was. I don't even think any of my great uncles knew what it was. My great uncle.
Are you fucking retarded? You've got to be. You've got to be fucking retarded. Have you ever heard of shell shocked? Or they went to war and they just come back and they just weren't right. Right? Or they were just on edge all the time. You fucking retard. Just because it's got it's been around forever. Since the dawn of time. I know it must be tough at the National Training Center and getting in a four-wheeler accident. But when you're standing beside a person who turns into fucking pink mist and chewing gum right beside you, it affects you differently.
We get where we are today. I don't even think my grandpa knew what PTSD was. I don't even think any of my great uncles knew what it was. My great uncle at Normandy, he never even mentioned the word PTSD. He didn't even know what that word was. See, we have
Yeah, because it wasn't a term then. You're telling me your great uncle at Normandy didn't know a term that would be coined 30 years later? Evidence.
such a place where we are now, where we play victims a lot. People play victims, right? Life ain't easy. It ain't tough. It wasn't supposed to be, was it? Was it supposed to be easy?
Life ain't easy. It ain't tough.
Victims a lot. People play victims, right? Life ain't easy. It ain't tough. It wasn't supposed to be.
Life ain't easy. It ain't tough.
Was it? Was it supposed to be easy? I don't think it was. So,
how the fuck would you know? You barely made it to a duty station, limping the whole time there.
look at where we are, and look at all the victim mentality. Especially while I'm live on Instagram, all you chicks out there, put some freaking clothes on. Have some decency about yourself. I mean, look at the world we live in. My God, what? Seriously. Every chick on Instagram and Facebook and everywhere, all on the timelines, everywhere.
Dude, his target audience of like 53 to 85-year-old now single women are eating this. Yeah. Them dang skanks all on my Instagrams. I thought it was called Instagram because it's for grandmas. Turns out there's a bunch of young hoes on there.
Bikini, or they got their tatas just, oh, I'm just riding down the road and the camera's way up here. Yeah, you're riding down the road, all right.
No bikini.
I mean, look at the world we live in.
Look, they're in a bikini. Where the fuck's your burqa at?
And the camera's way up here. On the timelines, everywhere. Bikini, or they got their tatas.
So a woman can't wear a bikini and take pictures. Where the fuck does this guy live? You ever been to the beach, Derek? It's a big body of water. Not like a pond or a lake. It's bigger than that. Old Man Kelsey's Ocean. That's right, Derek. Old Man Kelsey's Ocean.
I'm just riding down the road and the camera's way up here.
I wonder how many OnlyFans accounts he subscribed to.
Yeah, you're riding down the road, all right. I mean, look at the world we live in. We're in a self-gratification, instant gratification. No wonder people don't want to hear the laws and orders. Oh, but they want their paycheck cleaned up. Oh, but they don't want taxes. Oh, but get the gas prices down. Oh, I can't afford the food right now. Oh, but you don't want to know who's working behind the scenes and who's doing this. And finally, drew a line in the sand in 2016, and for the first time in world history, you're witnessing an occupation and an operation take place that's cleaning out all of this global elitists all around the world. And it's a war. And you should want to know what's going on. 1871, when Ulysses S. Grant, garbage, signed us back under the nation that we fought our independence from.
Wrong.
Organic Act of 1871. Then it was the Organic Act of 1878 that established the federal corporation. Also in 1878, the Posse Comitatus, which I find, my opinion, is a violation of the Constitution. Why would you put limits? Why would the Congress put limits on the military?
Hey, how many times can you be wrong? A municipal corporation. You know why it doesn't say federal corporation? Because it's a municipal corporation. You ever heard the word municipality and know what that means? All it did was found the District of Columbia. One founded the District of Columbia, one of them made a municipal corporation out of it.
What the military could do federally of the Constitution. In 1878, the Posse Comitatus, which I find, my opinion, is a violation of the Constitution. Why would you put limits? Why would the Congress put limits on the military or what the military could do federally?
Because their job is to pass the laws. If you want to make this argument, right? There's no speed limits. What? Hey, Derek Johnson, I want to commend you for having all that child porn on your hard drive. Because where the fuck does the Constitution say you can't have child porn? You fucking predator, you. I think it's cool that you got a kink that you're into 3-year-old boys. And I commend you for that. I've never seen a single clause of the Constitution about 3-year-old boys. Where does Congress get off talking about child porn? I'm proud of you, brother.
Sounds like a ploy to me. Sounds like exactly what they did do, right? 1930
Scam.
Federal Reserve, right? And you had a crash of 29, right? The crash. And then all throughout the Depression and right after the Depression, what did they do? They put all these things into place for my grandparents, right? They duped all of my grandparents. Oh, we got this program, put your money here, put your money there, put your money here. Residuals, right? Just the same way other stuff works out there, residual based. These global elitists up here. Americans stopped reading the laws and orders. They were trusting, oh, Congress, that's what they get paid to do. That's what Congress gets paid to do. It just works itself out. I've heard it my whole life. I know you have too. That's exactly what I've heard.
Charge of quarters.
Oh, it just works itself out, and that's what Congress gets paid to do. We don't need to do anything about it. And then you wonder why we look the way we look. Then you had World War II, which was a corporate war, and not throwing them under the bus, but the guys that wrote the forward to my book and major key pieces in the back of it. Lieutenant Colonel, retired Special Operations, Australian Forces. Also Colonel Sellers, full bird Colonel, retired Special Operations, Green Beret, former Deputy Commander of Delta Force. All right. As those two did on a podcast one time, they showed how World War II, Roosevelt even, and Churchill and all them.
Colonel Sanders? Did he say Colonel Sanders?
Colonel Sellers, full bird Colonel, retired Special
Sellers. Okay.
Former Deputy Commander of Delta Force. All right. As those two did on a podcast one time, they showed how World War II, Roosevelt even, and Churchill and all them, they knew what was going on. Oh, they knew. All part of the corporation. All right. Thank God for other men, though, that defied orders back then. You have to go watch that podcast. But see, what happened is so beautiful if you'll just listen really close. And I'm going to get to the debate here. But all this is important. What these people put into law is coming back to bite them. Because the law reads as close to perfect as it can get. It's real neutral. That's why it takes two different sides. Even if you oppose me, you still need to know the law, because that's the law right now. That's our system we're in. And I respect the law. And I want the laws that back the Declaration and back our foundation and back the Constitution to stay the same. So that law is as neutral as possible. And then two people have to get on the other side. If you oppose it, then you still look at the law right here. All right? So when you look at what was put into place in 1941 and 1942, the first War Powers Act and the second War Powers Act, all right, and one didn't replace the other. They happen to have two different acts for certain reasons. First War Powers Act, and then the second War Powers Act was about land and naval usage, seas and airports, which is what you're watching right now. You're watching a World War II history repeat. However, they're using the laws the correct way. And that's why when President Trump says, if they're going to investigate me, they got to investigate every president before me immediately. Right?
Wait a second. Is that your Trump? Wait a second. If they're going to investigate me, they got to investigate every president before me. If they're going to investigate me, they got to investigate every president before me.
And then the second War Powers Act was about land and naval usage, seas and airports, which is what you're watching right now. You're watching a World War II history repeat. However, they're using the laws the correct way. And that's why when President Trump says, if they're going to investigate me, they got to investigate every president before me immediately. Right? Because all these other... And that's why when President Trump says, if they're going to investigate me, they got to investigate every president before me immediately. Right? Because
it's like a homosexual rendition of Trump.
In the laws
or Trump.
The correct way. And that's why when President Trump says, if they're going to investigate me, they got to investigate every president before me immediately. Right? Because using the laws the correct way. And that's why when President Trump says, if they're going to investigate me, they got to investigate every president before me immediately. Right? Because all the correct way. And that's why when President Trump says, if they're going to investigate me, they got to investigate every president before me immediately. Right? Because all the other presidents and Congresses, plural, put all these laws and orders in place. They put them in perfect for when you, the people, go read it. It reads perfectly. See, that's why.
His friend Chad's last name is, Sellers or Sanders or what?
You got to be careful with these sly tongues, these evil people out there. All these people who dupe you with the language.
And it's a lot harder, especially with the rhino Republicans, because they say all the right things. Well, let's just do it like this. If you're a Republican, they say all the right things for you to hear. If you're a Democrat, the Democrats say all the right things for you to hear. So it's a lot harder to catch your own people. You got to listen keenly. You got to know exactly what they're doing, especially if they're not making it blatantly obvious. So the law reads perfect on paper. So,
oh yeah, he was from. I know who that is. That was from Nashville. I think I looked him up before.
what's going on right now is perfect, and it's matching.
Or Hendersonville or
matching our
somewhere.
declaration. That's why it's so hard for patriots to see the difference right now. A lot of patriots, because you don't know the foundation. You've heard so many things your whole life, right? It's the build the bear crap. Oh, you're grasping for straws. No, you gotta see who's in charge and what they put into place, because it reads perfect. So you had 19.
Wouldn't it be silly? Wouldn't it be silly if laws only applied to the person who put them in place, or when they were there, or when they were secretly president, or privately or publicly? Wouldn't that be silly? Wouldn't it be much better if, like, some laws were incorrect and had to be taken back, but other laws continually built upon each other until we had like a rule of law, and that it applied past their presidents? That would make more sense, wouldn't it?
1941, 1942, now moved to 1951. I just said it earlier on the podcast. Congress put term limits on the president. Why and how? The Constitution's a violation of the Constitution. Nowhere does it say in the Constitution for them to do so. That was
Yes, it does.
term limits on the president. Why and how? The Constitution's a violation of the Constitution.
Term limits is part of the Constitution. Presidential term limits is part of the Constitution. The only argument you can make is that it's an amendment. It wasn't in the original Constitution, so neither was free speech, legal search and seizures, speedy trial, right to bear arms. You had to take all those back then. And we'll go back to the original Constitution.
Constitution. Nowhere does it say in the Constitution for them to do so. That was part of the federal corporation. They took it one step further, so they established all these programs that all of our.
I hope so. I hope Derek Johnson ends up in a shootout, on the wrong end of a shootout, so he gets some of that. So he gets some of that wounded warrior feeling he's been bragging about.
Family were putting their money into, and they were building these residuals up here, this global elitist up here, all around. All right, and then 1951. Then you had 1961, which I might add, we had our first war, our first foreign war, not a war. We had our first foreign war with Korea in the 50s. Keep that in mind. That was your first big corporate war after all these things were put into place. Then you move forward to 1961. Dwight D. Eisenhower, who was not only president, but a rare five-star general, all right, he had a speech called the Military Industrial Complex, all right? And he also talked about the medical field being an industrial complex as well. He did not like where our nation was going because of contracts, defense contracts, and lobbyists, who Donald John Trump has said we're going to end all defense contracts and lobbyists. And guess what is going on right now? A lot of defense contracts are being terminated. Not just the contracts, the companies. You're watching the swamp being drained, baby. All right, 1961.
Derek, with all this experience you got, take some time and explain to us what a corner-fed room is. And then once you figure out what a corner-fed room is, tell us what a positive corner-fed room is and a negative corner-fed room is, and the tactics that we should use while we're all becoming wounded warriors.
That was his farewell speech. All right, 1963. I'm not here to talk about if JFK's alive or not. All you people that we talk about that, it's not this podcast. It's another podcast. 1963, January 1963. JFK went around the Federal Reserve, straight to the Treasury Department, took about $4.8 billion. 11 months later, he was assassinated. All right, 1963. 1968, we left the Gold Standard Act.
World War II was the last declared war.
71, 72, you had what they call the Nixon shock of 71, 72. Then from there, inflation just started going crazy. And it hasn't.
What else could happen that would change the way the world spends its money from the 60s or 70s till now? Anybody think of anything else? So, in the Industrial Revolution, there was a gigantic, disparaging change. Gigantic change in the way money was spent, who spent, because the world had an industrial revolution. So from the 60s or 70s to now, what could have changed with the way people spend money, earn money, make money, use money? Yeah, we've had a technology revolution, right? We've had an explosion in new technology.
And here we are, right? That's where we are. except for Donald John Trump put a line in the sand. And it wasn't just him. He's the face of this, but it was not just him. But on the campaign trail in 2016, Jeb Bush, beautiful, 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 Jeb Bush, the dirty, corrupt Bushes, Jeb Bush asked Donald John Trump.
Dirty, corrupt Bushes. That was a strip club I went to one time out in Alamo, Texas, I think.
Who's going to vote for you? Who's going to back you? And who's going to support you? And my man, smart-ass Trump, I love it. I don't believe it's smart-ass when you can back it up. When you got facts, it ain't cocky, it's confident. All right, when you got the goods and you got everything. He said, well, that's a loaded question, Jeb. And if the moderator would give me time out.
By the way, Derek Johnson talks about how everybody made fun of him in high school, knew he was going to be a nobody, knew he was weird as fuck, he couldn't get no pussy, he didn't have no friends. And he's like, then I come back and parked that big tour bus there because I had one song that anybody's ever heard.
I'll answer that for you. One, the American people are going to vote for me because they're tired of BS politicians like you. Every single one of you have been in office no less than 4 years, and you get on this stage and you tell the American people what they want to hear, and you never back it up. I'm not going to do that. I will win them over with their economy because.
But then he did. I don't know if you guys remember this, but after Trump's loss or leading up to the election to Biden, there were a lot of people, there were a lot of news stories and people that were coming out that were disenfranchised by Trump. A lot of his white male voter base was like, well, you know, it seems like he's trying to do everything for black people, Mexicans, and women, and but he kind of left us behind. Literally, he ran on lock her up, and then as soon as he was elected, was like, no, nah, she's had enough, right, guys, right, and people were booing him. He's like, no, we're not gonna do that.
I'm a businessman, not a politician. And who's gonna back me? Who's gonna support me? I have over 200 generals backing me right now. If you went to the average person on the street and said, how many generals commanded World War II? First off, if you ask them, who do you think won the Battle of World War II? Most people, even liberals, would say that we kicked their butts. Which is correct, thanks to my grandfather and great uncles and so many other relatives. The greatest generation. But if you then took it one step further and said, how many generals do you think commanded World War II? How many Americans do you think would get that? Not that many. All right? Donald John Trump told Jeb Bush and the whole world I have 200 generals backing me, and more to come. 14 generals commanded World War II.
That's not true. So there's been arguments that so like right now we have in the modern army, this is probably information that's I don't know, several years old. There are about 900 active duty general or flag officers for about 1.3 million troops. That's one for like every 14 or 1,500 troops. I don't feel like doing the math. During World War II, which is a completely different era, different warfare, different style, there was about 2,000 general officers and field officers for about 12 million troops, which would be like 1 in 6,000. So 1 in 1,400, 1,500, somewhere around there, 1 in 6,000. So there is an argument out there that maybe we have too many officers, but a lot of stuff has changed, right? We have general officers that are literally doing paperwork all the fucking time, right? Like a lot of stuff has changed since World War II. Yeah, the technology, just like we were just talking about.
And you saw the outcome of that, didn't you? And see, when the average American and the average civilian hears a general, they hear one person. But see, when a veteran like myself and all my brothers and sisters that are watching right now, and all the veterans that support these pages that I run, when they hear a general, and when I hear a general, you know what we hear? We hear the general and their divisions, not one person. And some of those divisions can get pretty daggone big, up to 75,000, a lot of them. So I've heard from people that I know, around 800 generals, a lot of them, and their divisions, not one person. And some of those divisions can get pretty daggone big, up to 75,000, a lot of them. So
just because a general supports you doesn't mean that his division supports you, fucking retard.
That I run, when they hear a general, and when I hear a general, you know what we hear? We hear the general and their divisions, not one person. And some of those divisions can get pretty daggone big, up to 75,000, a lot of them. So I've heard from people that I know, around 800 generals are backing Donald John Trump. And it's not that others didn't want to, it's just that they don't really have to. You can't, you don't want to have too many chiefs and not enough Indians. All right, so, they got...
Oh, it's not like the other ones didn't want to, it's that they didn't have to. None of them had to, you fucking retard.
It's under control. All right, so there was that key entity. Line was drawn in the sand. A lot of people are struggling with the military occupation. I get questions every day, even from friends. I still have friends who'll text me something, and I love them to death, and I'm like, it's a military occupation. I don't know how many times I got to say this. I love you, but it's an occupation. You're reading stuff today and forgetting that the occupation was put into place back here. And the continuity of operations. The continuity of operations actually proves the occupation more than occupation because the continuity of operation was put into place the January 17th, 2017, and June 13th, 2017. FCD1, Federal Continuity Directive 1, Federal Continuity Directive 2. And there's been 10 publications under those. All right? But then when President Trump went on the capitulation tour, everybody wants to say, where's the proof? I've shown you more proof than you can shake a stick at. All right? And you still have people, I need proof. I don't know. I don't know if I want to believe it. I don't know if I can. That don't make sense. Because you don't know the prerequisites. You don't know the terminology. And I'm not knocking you. That's what we're here for. But you can't keep, if you keep complaining, then if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over and expect the same results, then what do they say about people like that? I'm not going to say it. Someone in the comment box probably will. But if you're complaining, then it sounds like you want to know. So if you're complaining and griping, then you got to find out in the way that you can. It don't matter if it takes you 2 weeks to read the blueprint versus your friend a week. Don't worry about your friend. You study in the time period it takes you to give you the consolation you need. But the military occupation is a martial law. That's exactly what military occupation means. It's a suspension of the Constitution. President Trump, one of his most recent ads, said we're going to restore law and order. You know what the word restore means? Bring back. All right? He went on what they call a capitulation tour from 2017 to 2020. It's in the law war manual. Now that is 1,254 pages. It is not going to be fun for all of you civilians hearing that for the first time. However, you can read Chapter 11 and Chapter 12. Will catch you up to speed a lot more. Chapter 12 is your capitulations. All right? President Trump went on these capitulations. Russia, North Korea, China, India, stepping in front of the Queen. All right? That was not an error. That was a capitulation. All right? And to prove...
Hold on. I got 15 right here. George Marshall, Dwight D. Eisenhower, Douglas MacArthur, Omar Bradley, Mark Clark, Patton, Ernest King, William D. Leahy, Chester Nimitz, William Halsey Jr., Frank Jack Fletcher, Raymond Spruance, Harold Arnold, Ira Aker, and Carl Spatz. That's 15 right there. I thought there was only 14 in World War II. That's 15. That was the 15 most prominent generals in World War II. Now, I'm sure Derek's so fucking dumb that he doesn't understand what a fleet admiral is, which is just a Navy general. Right? But still, there you go.
That, even though everybody who's been watching me on here already knows this, I'm doing a quick rundown for all the new people watching. To prove that even more, President Trump says, remember Angela Merkel? No one's remembering her right now. I gave her the white flag of surrender. If you walked up to every American who knows this, I'm doing a quick rundown for all the new people watching. To prove that even more, President Trump says, remember Angela Merkel? No one's remembering her right now. I gave her the white flag of surrender. If you walked up to every American right now on the street, microphone, for all the new people watching. To prove that even more, President Trump says, remember Angela Merkel? No one's remembering her right now. I gave her the white flag of surrender. If you walked up to every American right now on the street, microphone, can you tell me what the white flag of surrender is? And I don't mean Call of Duty and all those games that your kids play and probably your husband who neglects you. Oh, did I say that? What is a white flag of surrender? Can we play the Jeopardy song? Right? Or whatever it is. I don't even know the Jeopardy song. Can't even.
That was it. That was it. You nailed it, dude. Can we play the Jeopardy song? Alex, I'll take the Jeopardy song for 1,000. Beer now, beer dog. Beer in my beer. Beer now. Nailed it.
I don't mean Call of Duty and all those games that your kids play and probably your husband who neglects.
So I just found this article. Now listen to this article. Army Colonel Christopher Kagalanese, the chief of future operation of the Army Futures Command, tweeted this month about this milestone, which the service has only hit once in the past. Last time we had this rank density was April 1945, when we had 4 5-star and 13 4-stars. What is 4 plus 13? I'll play the Jeopardy music while you answer. 4 plus 13. Ba-doop, boop, boop, ba-doop, boop, boop. Beep, bop, boop, boop, beep, 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 ba-doop, boop, beep, 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 beep. Dog beer. Time's up. That's not even counting 3, 2, and 1 star. So during World War II, there were 17 5- and 4-star generals. That's not even counting 3, 2, and 1-star generals, right? This article says the Army now has more 4-star generals serving on active duty than the Army and Air Force combined, because it was Army. What the Air Force was part of the Army. It was the Army Air Corps during World War II. What the fuck are you talking about? Let's play this Jeopardy sound one time.
Can you tell me what the white flag of surrender is? And I don't mean Call of Duty and all.
Oh, by the way.
Place it makes
Oh my God, did I skip it?
It's a whole other.
Where was I at?
That country music fans, but it baffled. I know a lot of them in the military who are taking out these commanders. Were trolling my pages last year. Challenge, right? What a lot of ladies were telling me how they're
Oh, I'm mad now.
Things in the place for what was put into place in 1941 and 1942, the First War Powers Act and the for evil here. So it's a lot of the light you played earlier on the podcast. Congress put term limits on the president.
Hold on, let me go watch my replay right quick. Hold on. I got to see where we were just at. I want to hear this Jeopardy music.
If you don't want to die from diabetes, pay
I don't want to
attention
die
to
from
this simple
diabetes.
trick you can use starting tonight to balance.
Watch what steak
I got to
does
see the
to your
timestamp
gut.
on the
The
replay.
carnivore diet. Why do people lose weight so rapidly?
Shut up,
Congress
doctor.
put term limits on the president.
Hold on, let me go watch my replay right quick. Shut up, Will. Beep, 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 ba-doop, boop, beep, 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 beep. Shut up, past self. Dog beer. 104.14. Dog beer. Sorry, Johnny. We got to go over here. 104. I was almost there. Da na 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 da 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 bow bow. Thumbs up, contestants.
Up to every American right now on the street. Microphone. Can you tell me what the white flag of surrender is? And I don't mean Call of Duty and all those games that your kids play and probably your husband who neglects you. Oh, did I say that?
Is he just trying to pick up? Chill the fuck out, dude. My wife watches this show. She doesn't know she's neglected. He's trying to pick up everybody's lady.
Surrender is. And I don't mean Call of Duty and all those games that your kids play and probably your husband.
Oh, I bet you he says cunt. I guarantee you he says cunt. Is it like every other word in Australia?
Who neglects you. Oh, did I say that? What is a white flag of surrender? Can we play the Jeopardy song? Right?
What the fuck was that, dude? I had to slow it down to see how bad it was.
What is a white flag of surrender? Can we play the like Jeopardy song?
That's Mario, bro. That's Mario after you get the flag. Hold on. God damn it. Here you go. Hold on. Listen. I'm going to ask you a question. Did Derek Johnson get the Jeopardy sound right? I'll play the Jeopardy sound while you think. Sorry, the sound's messed up. That's it. The time's over. Wait, what do you got? Where's it at?
Right, or whatever it is. I don't even know there. Can we play the like Jeopardy song?
It kind of also sounds like Derek's underwater. It's a combination of the two. He's just doing the beep doop boop beep doop boop beep boop. He's not doing the background, right? Beep doop. Just listen to the beep doop boop beep beep doop boop. Right, beer, dog beer, beer here, beer there.
Or whatever it is. I don't even know there. Can we play the like Jeopardy song? Right, or whatever it is.
That was a rooster.
I don't even know the Jeopardy song. Can't even play it. I don't even watch TV anymore.
Good excuse. You fucking retard. You think people are watching Jeopardy today? No, we all grew up with it. That's why we know it.
The white flag of truce is in the Law War Manual. Does somebody want to give me a drum roll? You need
Beep boop 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 beep 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 boop 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 boop. I got you, bro. There's your drum roll.
hit that drum roll. Guess what chapter it is? Same chapter as the capitulations, chapter 12. And President Trump sitting there telling all these Americans who have never heard the word capitulation in their life and white flag of truce in their life, the white flag of truce and negotiations in their life, Donald John Trump is speaking a language so foreign to every American, and he's telling you we're in a military occupation.
So here you go. What was he really saying? What was Donald Trump really saying? Trump said that she handed over a white flag of surrender over Germany's failure to rid itself of dependency on Russian gas, Donald Trump claims. Right? He was basically saying when Russia was going to war that they basically had to surrender to Russia because they were dependent on their pipeline for the gas. That's what he was really saying. Now, what fucking Derek Johnson heard was beep, 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 beep. Trump's still president.
Conflict goes on. It should be shattered. She should have never done it. I had it out with her. I sent her the white flag of surrender. I sent her a white flag. It was in the form of a large...
You sent her one?
Oh, yeah, I had it brought right over to her at a different table. I said, it's the white flag of surrender. She said, but what do you mean? I said, you are dependent on Russia for energy. You must be kidding.
So he leaves that part out.
I mean, just look at the history of Germany and Russia. When it happens, you might as well just do me a favor. Lift this flag of surrender. You know what it was? It was a very luxurious napkin. Okay?
Where was it?
And I sent it.
Where did you do it?
It didn't fucking happen.
One of the meetings, at one of our many.
And I sent this, and you know what it was? He just said I had one specially made, had it made for her, and he was doing his hands like this. I had it made for her, and he was acting like it had a stick and shit. He's like, and you know what it was? He didn't even know when he said that. He didn't even know what he was going to say when he said that. And the guy's like, what? And he's like, it was a beautiful napkin. It was a napkin like you may wipe the crumpets or whatever they eat in Germany. It was a beautiful napkin.
But you got to know the prerequisites to know what's going on. And it's still ongoing. And they show you nuggets every day. Just like the debate. Bunch of nuggets in there we're going to get to. All right, so then the continuity of operations. They show you this every day. And you have a veteran out there occasionally will say, well, Donald Trump did not invoke the Insurrection Act on January the 6th. So there's no way he can still be president.
Yeah, he didn't.
First off, that has nothing to do with him being president still.
A lot of people said it was the only napkin in Germany. I don't know. What do they use? Their sleeves? A lot of people are saying that, though, Chris. A lot of people.
All right, the military occupation put into place back here in 2017 was telling you he was going to still be your president until this was over. Wartime president. All right, because the Constitution was suspended way back here. That's what a military occupation.
Derek is literally doing this motion. Does he understand what he's doing? Does he understand the motion that he's making? A lot of people are telling me that Derek Johnson's a crazy guy. I don't know. Never fucking heard of him. He's literally doing this. He was telling you that he's going to be the president. Watch him. Watch his hand motion.
So there's no way he can still be president. First off, that has nothing to do with him being president still. All right, the military occupation put into place back here in 2017 was telling you he was going to
Lock him up.
Still be your president until this was over. Wartime president. All right, because the Constitution was suspended way back here. That's what a military occupation is. It's a martial law, suspension of the Constitution. And guess where that's found? In the Constitution. So there's a suspension clause. All right, and they've proven it. They've already shown this to you multiple times.
They've proven it. They've proven it.
And I have other
videos like that one.
Break it down. This is not that video. So you have to go follow my pages and find those.
Gotta get a different video if you want to see that video. They've proven it in a different video. Guys, I'm out. Fuck Derek Johnson. Fuck Derek Johnson and his take on PTSD, if nothing else. Fucking retard. It's a beautiful napkin. Thank you guys for joining us. Please consider supporting the show if you like what we do. We're trying to get back on schedule again. I was doing better last week. We're going to get back on schedule again. The last 2 nights I've been late. Thank you guys. We'll try to do something with Patreon tomorrow, hopefully. My new 3D printer will be here as well, so I'll be setting it up. Maybe we'll hang out or something and get back on the other channel. Making a snake guillotine gun on the Cold Recreations channel, so we'll see you there. Consider supporting the show. We're offline. Either this show or the other show, whatever. The money goes the same place. It's me in my office by myself. Love you. See you. Bye. That's all I could take. We only made it an hour in. It's a 3.5-hour video.
Douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the fork and balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the fork and balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best.
No, I won't. I'll be at work, bitch. You'll be with your family a lot. DV877D Delta Victor 877 Delta. This guy just ran me off the road. If you call and report it, I'd appreciate it. It's a Dodge pickup truck.
Listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6 cents for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme.
Just wherever you're at, call 911 and report it. Alabama plates.
Worshiping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit.
Get a bolo going.
Hammers like fool in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, beating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your Huckleberry, I can quit.
Right, pop a couple of them mints. Daddy's coming home.
Is a people alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers.
Mariah's family is in this week, but Mariah has got to see them every day from the time she wakes up to the time she fucking passes out on the way home. I don't do that shit. I don't even see my own family that much.
You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit.
I got a tattoo appointment August 1st. I forgot about that. Damn it, I still got to buy a PS5 for... Those motherfuckers still ain't come. I was hoping they'd come down before Liam's birthday. They still haven't.
When I was high on shrooms, I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped
Happy birthday, Liam, this week.
to the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine, with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Wait. Stop. What?
Greenbow, Alabama!
What are you doing? Stop. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. This is what I'm